Well, I thought I would go over another motherboard overview, not a review, but an overview on this ASRock B760M. This is the PG Riptide. And there's nothing really special about this. Matter of fact, this is one of ASRock's lower end motherboards. But this was part of a bundle deal, which I felt was a pretty decent deal considering you get a 13400F with it. Now the F stands for you're going to need a graphics card. But this motherboard, I just wanted to kind of go over some of its features and see what you get in the box and get this thing set up and tested just to make sure everything works perfectly fine with it. But yeah, let's check this out. Now this box did come a little damaged, but everything inside looks pretty good. I just opened it up just to check the contents of it. Now this also came with the 13400F, and the F means that you need a designated graphics card or GPU. Well, for testing purposes out here, I decided to swap it in my Dark Dragon. So now the 13400F is in here, and I took the 13500 and I have it out here on the bench now. It's actually over there, but nevertheless, I have it out so we can use that and we don't have to use a designated graphics card, which this is my only spare right now. This is a EVGA 1060. Anyway, I digress. Let's get this thing open and see what we get. So in the box, we get a user's manual. And they're nice to have, but a lot of the companies now are getting away from user's manuals, and everything is online. So you download the manual online, which is great if you have a computer. I mean, I guess everybody's got a smartphone now, but if you don't have a computer, it's kind of nice to reference to that, you know, something quick. Where do you put the DIMM or the RAM sticks? You know, sometimes they can be different channels that you have to put them in for optimized performance and etc. So it's nice just to have a quick reference like that. You get a couple M.2 screws. We get 2 SATA cables, and one is a 90-degree. And that's it. Otherwise, we get the motherboard. And we'll just put that right there. And here we go. Here's the motherboard. Now, on this one, if you remember my last ASRock of an ITX, it comes zip tied with this stuff on it. This is really cheap. I don't know why ASRock does that, but they do. Anyway, here it is. I'll show the back because the back is really the less impressive of everything. But there's the back. And yeah. So anyway, this is the Riptide. So you basically get like a
blue oceany wave type cool, surfy, rad dude type vibe.
Yeah. So anyway, I will come up to the camera, or maybe I'll get you zoomed in and we'll take a little bit better look at this. All right, let's take a look at this guy here. Here's a little pointing apparatus that I have. It's a little PK pen. So anyway, we have up here, we have our ESP connections for our CPU power. We do have a little bit of overclocking ability because it has that 4 extra pin for a little bit of extra power. It's kind of nice, but now this board doesn't supply a lot of features for the overclocking. So anyway, we have 4 DIMM slots, which is kind of nice. We do have 2 CPU fan headers here. We have what looks like some RGB headers right here. We have our 24 pin. We have a 3.0 or 3.2 Gen 1 USB connection right here. Supplies for an extra 2 for the front of your case. We also have a Type-C, both of which are only 5 gigabits per second. Unfortunately, this is not a 2x2. And we only get 2 right here. If I spin it around, we only get 2 SATA connection ports right there. And right here we do get a Hyper M.2 slot. And this is going to be 4.0 Gen 4 times 4. That is for your M.2 NVMe. And we also get another Gen 4x4 up here. This is your primary one that you would put your Windows on. And it looks like we get our front I/O connection. We get, oh, it does look like we get an extra 2. I stand corrected, an extra 2 SATA connections right down there for a total of 4. And let's see, we get only 1 though, only one 2.0 header right here. That is a little unfortunate. So if you're running some liquid cooler display and you have to plug that in, or if you had a couple of things that required to pump it or to hook up to that, you're either going to have to get a splitter, or you're going to have to go and get a connection and split it off of this guy or something like that. So we also get, let's see, two more fan headers right there. And I believe, yep, there's one right there, right next to the M.2. And you get your front audio. We also get ARGB header. I keep forgetting if this one's ARGB or if this one's RGB. I don't use them, so whatever they are. And looks like this might be a clear CMOS. Yep, that's a clear CMOS, so you cross those pins or have a jumper to clear the CMOS, or you just remove your battery. And we get a generation 4x1 port right here, and then we get a Gen 4x16 PCIe slot right there where you put your graphics card if that's what you choose to run. And of course, this is socket 1700, if I did not say so already, which I don't believe I did. I believe this is also a 14+1+1 power phase delivery system right here. So that's what you get with that. And also, you can see right here, it says M.2 Wi-Fi. So you would have to, if you want this thing to be Wi-Fi, you would have to buy a card and put it in there. Otherwise, you would get a PCIe card and put it in there, and you can run Wi-Fi that way. There's two different choices, which I do have a Wi-Fi card, which we will demonstrate maybe in this video or another on how to hook that up. Just depends on how long this video goes. Now, this is our, trying to get a good picture, but anyway, this is where you would put your Wi-Fi antennas. You'd have to manually actually screw them in there. You'd have to run the cable up, you know, behind here, you know, plug it into the board, run it up here, and then you can hook up your antennas. We do have DisplayPort and HDMI, which you can utilize for 2 monitors if you wish. Now this is funny because it comes with an SP2 connection for mouse and keyboard combo. Now that's good for, I think, overclocking and whatnot, but I would never use that anymore. Anyway, we get 2 3.4 2.0 ports, and then we get, let's see, a 3.2 Gen 1, or traditionally known as a 3.0 port. That is only 5 gigabits per second. We get another 2 of them right here that are only 5 gigabits per second. And this Type C is unfortunately also only 5 gigabits per second. But we also get a 2.5 gigahertz, or gigabit, 2.5 gigabit LAN port right there, and we get our audio down here. Now the audio is not going to be the best on a board like this, but nevertheless, that is what you get. That's kind of the rough rundown of this board, and you kind of get what you get. This is pretty much a $100 board, $110 board, so you're not going to get too much. All right, well, we got our power and everything else is hooked up. I just got to plug in this HDMI, and now we can flick the power on. We got power going to the motherboard, and we can see the illuminating underneath. It's got some lights on it, whatever. And we're gonna hit the go button. CPU fan is spinning, power supply is spinning. Now the only thing we're looking for is a picture out on here, and just looking for a post. That's all we're looking for. But we should, in a moment, it's just taking time to train the memory and see what everything it has with the CPU, the memory installed, and then we should get a post usually within 60 seconds. Still going to be patient here because we don't know what it's doing just yet. Just going to make sure that we are connected. What I'm going to do is actually stop recording because it doesn't look like we're getting anywhere right now. And now I'm starting to wonder if we are not getting a signal going through, or if it's just the OBS not connecting. So let's go ahead and stop recording. Let's get out of OBS, and we're going to reopen it. So we still do not have a signal, and it's been about a minute. Let's take it out, plug it back in. It's So now it's got me wondering what's going on. Okay, so at this point, what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna hold in on the, well, actually, I'll just turn the power supply off. Then I'm gonna hit the power button just to get rid of any power. We're gonna go ahead and try this again. But first, I'm just gonna reboot this computer in case it does have a problem. All right, we're gonna try this one more time here. We're gonna turn our power back on and hit the right button. Okay, so we have power there. And I'll just start recording just in case it will capture it. So down here, all right, we should have, well, it doesn't say boot. Ah, I forgot. So it is booted into Windows actually. I forgot that there was a copy of Windows on that. That's my fault. So anyway, it's in Windows. It had to, probably the first time it had to load the drivers, and now it's booted into Windows. So, oh well. Let's stop the recording on that for right now. And what I want to do is I'm going to get a BIOS update for this, but what we can do actually is I will start the recording again here, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for myself. I need a keyboard and a mouse for this. We're going to plug it into any USB port, but I have a 2.0 port right there. We're going to plug that in, get this keyboard going, and now we do have a mouse, which is good. Right down here at the bottom, see our window, we're gonna type in run, hit enter, and then right down there at the bottom, we are going to type in MS Info 32, hit enter, and now we can see our BIOS version. Let's see, just a little bit down, it does say 805, and that's of 1/2 of 24. So it's actually got a fairly recent BIOS, almost 8 months old, 9 months old. So let's go ahead and close that. That was 805. All right, in order to get this done, grab yourself a USB drive, stick it in the computer. Even if that's the one you are updating, you need to get the BIOS on that file. We're going to go ahead and get rid of this file because that was for an old one. And what we're going to do is open up your browser of choice, and we're going to type in, ASRock B760M PG Riptide, looks like right there. It should be one of your first options. Looks like right there is our first option to get that. And we want to scroll down till we get to the support of the actual motherboard. And then we can, let's see, BIOS right there. And we had 805, so it looks like right there, we can see it was 805. What we want to do is click on this global download. I think, and I believe this instant flash is for if you are looking up the BIOS on the machine you're looking to update the BIOS on, you can click on that and it may do it for you. Otherwise, we're going to click on this right here, which is going to download it into a zip folder. And oops, I just downloaded the wrong one. I downloaded 805. We want 10.06, so there's 2 new BIOS updates. And we want this. So now we can close that. That was my bad. Go to our downloads folder. I'm going to delete all of these because that is not the ones we want. Now this is a zip folder, so you have to do a right click and extract all. And we're going to go right back to the same page. Click on this. We're going to copy over this file alone, over to our BIOS thumb drive. We're going to paste it, Control V. And that's it. Now we have our BIOS on our thumb drive. We have to get into the BIOS on this. So let's get into that. We're just waiting for the signal to come back. and usually that's how you get in the BIOS. All right, so we're in the BIOS now. This is the second ASRock board that I'm doing. I'm a little bit more familiar, but we can see up top here, we do have the 13500 installed. We have a total of 64 gigabytes of RAM. We also, right up here, it says we have the Riptide 8.05. Now that is your BIOS. I don't know why they do it that way, but that's just the way they do it. Now down here, it says Instant Flash. And that's what we're gonna click on, is the Instant Flash. This just has to do, this message has to do with your BitLocker. If you have BitLocker, make sure you back that up and decrypt it, and etc. Oh yeah, no file detected. It's because I didn't plug it in. So what we're gonna do is grab any port, and this particular motherboard does not have a BIOS supporting USB port. So just plug it into any port. Click on Instant Flash again, and right there is the one we want. And do not power off your motherboard at this time. But as we can see, we are going through the BIOS update right now. So again, like I've said in all of them, walk away, don't remove the power. It's very important not to remove the power or your USB drive. It's best not to try and even navigate, even though it won't even let you, but don't click on anything, just walk away. Okay, so it looks like our BIOS did take effect, or I should say it's installed, and rebooting it now is going to take effect. So when we get either back in the BIOS or back into Windows, we can check and make sure that we are at the current, was it 10.06 or something like that? That would be the indication that everything is all set. Now again, when we're doing BIOS updates, it's very important also to be patient while after it says it's going to reboot, to give it the proper amount of time till you give up. And to answer what time should you give up, it's hard to answer. I would say anything past 10 minutes and you haven't seen anything happen on the screen, anything, and you haven't seen your PC reboot. So in other words, the fan hasn't gone down, it hasn't rebooted, you have to get used to it. But if none of that has happened, I'd say after 10, maybe 15 minutes, turn your power supply back off, give it a minute, turn it back on, and you should be okay. But as we can see, we're perfectly fine here. We're gonna come right back down here to run, hit enter. Our last command is already there, and we can look and we can see right, I'll have to point with the mouse if I'm doing that, but right there, 10.06. So our BIOS is up to date now. At this point, it is perfectly safe to remove your BIOS update drive or thumb drive that you used to update it, and then just start using the computer like normal again. All right, so I think this video is long enough, but I do have a Wi-Fi kit here that is meant to go on a motherboard of such, so we can just plug and play, sort of, so to speak. We may have to download some drivers or let Windows update the drivers in order for this to be seen. I'm not too sure yet. I've never installed one, but I'm going to leave this for the next video, probably after this, because this is a great motherboard to demonstrate it on because it has it. Also, my live mixer motherboard that I did do an overview of, that also has a capability of putting one of these in. But if I just give you a little sneak peek, basically what you get in the kit here is a couple of antennas, and you get a bracket, you get another bigger bracket along with the actual Wi-Fi 7 card. So we're going to get this thing installed on this in the next video. So if you want to check that out, stay tuned for that within the next few days to a week after this one comes out. But anyway, I kind of digressed a little bit on that, but I just wanted to give you a little sneak peek what I'm going to do next onto this. But anyway, let's wrap it up with this motherboard. All right, so let's talk about my thoughts. Well, for $100, it's very simple. I think you get a pretty good deal for $100 on this, especially if you could pick one of these up used. So if you could get it for $80 to $90 on this thing, and you know, and everything still works, beautiful deal. The part that I don't like is you don't get any 10 gigabit connections. So we don't get anything on the board or here. And you can't even put another card in here because this is only a ×1 PCI slot. And if you were to not put a graphics card in up here, I guess you could use that if you needed something else. But traditionally speaking, a lot of people just put graphics cards in. So, but if you were just using this to surf the web, YouTube, email, and maybe some very light gaming with no graphics card, you could probably put in another slot here and get some 10 gigabit ports out the back, something like that. But anyway, with that said, $100, not bad. And especially when you combine, if you can find combo kits, you know, basically I got a 13400F for $100 and I got this thing for $100. So it was like just over $200 for both of them together. So not too bad. So anyway, if you want something like this, I will leave this down in the link, or I'll leave a link down in the description below. Feel free to leave your comments. Go ahead and subscribe if you have not subscribed, and hit that bell icon next to the subscription button. That way you can get notified for any future videos that I do post. Give this thing a thumbs up, please, just to show support, and I can continue making videos like this. And until next time, take care, guys.